Radha-madhavam kunja-vihari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradham Hari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradham Hari Yashodanandana Rajajanarandana Yashodanandana Rajajanarandana Yamunatira Vanatham Harim Yamunatira Vanatham Harim Jaya Radha-madhava kunja-vihari Jaya Radha-madhava kunja-vihari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradham Hari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradham Hari Yashodanandana Brajajanaranjana Yashodanandana Brajajanaranjana Yamunatira Vanatham Harim Yamunatira Vanatham Harim Jaya Radha-madhava kunja-vihari Jaya Radha-madhava kunja-vihari Jaya Radha-madhava kunja-vihari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradham Hari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradham Hari Yashodanandana Brajajanaranjana Yashodanandana Brajajanaranjana Yamunatira Vanatham Harim Yamunatira Vanatham Harim जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी जय राधा माधव राधा माधव राधे जय राधा कुंज बिहारी राधा कुंज बिहारी राधे जय राधा रस बिहारी राधा रस बिहारी राधे जय राधा मदन मोहन राधा मदन मोहन राधे जय राधा गोविंद राधा गोविंद राधे जय राधा गोपीनाथ राधा गोपीनाथ राधे जय राधा दामोदर राधा दामोदर राधे जय राधा रामन राधा रामन राधे जय राधा गिरिधरी राधा गिरिधरी राधे जय राधा श्याम सुंदर राधा श्याम सुंदर राधे जय राधे श्याम राधे श्याम राधे श्याम जय राधे श्याम जय कृष्ण बलराम कृष्ण बलराम कृष्ण बलराम जय कृष्ण बलराम जय गौरनिताय 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 जय गौरनिताय निताय गौरा हरिबोल 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 निताय गौरा हरिबोल निताय गौरा हरिबोल 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 निताय गौरा हरिबोल जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद जय विश्वपाद परमहंस परिव्रज गच्छाया श्रोता सत्व शिष्य मछला हे श्री भक्त वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्रज गच्छाया श्रोता सत्व शिष्य मछला भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती ठाकुर श्रील प्रभुपाद की अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की श्री रूप श्री सनातन भक्त रघुनाथ जी जीव गोपाल भक्त रस रघुनाचार्य गोस्वामी प्रभु की प्रेम से को श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवहरि गौर भक्त वृंद की श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गौ गोपाल गोपी गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंद राधा कुंद गिरि गोवर्धन की जाय वृंदावन धाम की जाय मथुरा धाम की जाय मायापुर धाम की जाय जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जाय वृंद देवी तुलसी देवी की जाय गंगा यमुना देवी की जाय हरिनाम संकीर्तन यज्ञ की जाए, श्री श्री गौरीताई की जाए, श्री श्री कृष्ण बलराम की जाए, श्री श्री राधा श्याम सुंदर की जाए, गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। समवेत भक्त वृंद की जाए। All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudirayet. Nashtabhayeshu vadeshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhaviti naistiki. Ete cham sakalapam sam Kṛṣṇastu bhagavan sayam indriyari vyakulam lokam vridyante yuge yuge. Nama sankirtanam yasya sarva papa pranashanam pranamaduka samanastam namami harim param. So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, chapter 82, text number 41 and 42. So text 41 doesn't have any purport, so I will just read, and then we'll do together text number 42. Api smaratha na sakhyaḥ svānām artha-cikīrṣayā gatāṁś cirāyitāñ chatru pakṣa-kṣapaṇa-cetasaḥ. Translation. Lord Kṛṣṇa said, my dear girlfriends, do you still remember me? It was for my relative's sake that I stayed away so long, intent on destroying my enemies. Text number 42, we'll read together. Avadhyāyathāsmān svid akṛta-jñāviśaṅkayā nūnam bhutani bhagavan yunakti vyunakti ca avadhyāyathāsmān svid akṛta-jñāviśaṅkayā nūnam bhutani bhagavan yunakti vyunakti ca avadhyāyathāsmān svid akṛta-jñāviśaṅkayā nūnam bhutani bhagavan yunakti vyunakti ca. Please chant.
Ladies,
Api also avadhyāyathā, you hold in contempt asmān, us, svid, perhaps, akṛta-jñāviśaṅkayā, as being ungrateful, aviśaṅkayā, with the suspicion, nunam, indeed, bhūtāni, living beings, Bhagavan, the Supreme Lord, yunakti, joins, viyunakti, separates, cha, and. Translation and purport by the disciples of His Divine Grace Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki. Translation. Do you perhaps think I'm ungrateful and thus hold me in contempt? After all, it is the Supreme Lord who brings living beings together and then separates them. Purport. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti reveals the gopis' thoughts. We are not like you, who, with your heart shattered by remembering us, day and night, give up all sense enjoyment in your distress of separation. Rather, we have not remembered you at all. In fact, we have been quite happy without you. In response, Kṛṣṇa here asks whether they resent his ingratitude. Om ajñāna-timirandasya jñānanjana-salakaya chakṣuranamilitam yenam tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya-manobhistam stāpitam yena bhūtale Sayam Rupa Gadāmayam Dadāti Sāpadantikam Bandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuddhavadakamalan Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Kṛṣṇa Chaitanya Devam Sirātha Kṛṣṇa Pādān Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakhanvidamscha He Kṛṣṇa Karuna Sindhu Dīnabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastade Tatta Ganjana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshari Vrishabhano Sude Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Jai Sri Kṛṣṇa Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Kṛṣṇa 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So here in this chapter Shukadeva Goswami is explaining how the inhabitants of Vrindavana meeting Kṛṣṇa during a solar eclipse at Kurukshetra. At that time, so not only the Brijvasis came, but so Kṛṣṇa, the Yadavas, and many other kings and saintly persons from different parts of Bharatvarsha came to the holy place of Kurukshetra on the occasion of a solar eclipse. So that is actually recommended in the scriptures that during eclipse one should preferably stay in a holy place and one should engage in spiritual activities, chanting the holy names, taking bath in the river, giving charity. So in this way one may counteract the effects of the eclipse. It is mentioned also according to Jyotish Shastra, so in regards to astrological calculation of the planets and the effects of the eclipse, that during the eclipse, according to the Rashi, one is born, so the sign, the sun sign one is born in, then the effects are either favorable or neutral or unfavorable. So those knowledgeable, they may be able to tell others, and then accordingly people or the sadhakas, the practicing devotees, they will try to be more and more absorbed. If one knows that it will have, according to Shastra, some negative effect, then one is more careful, obviously, and one will be more intent on chanting the holy names nicely and being focused on the Lord. That is natural. In danger, one is more easily calling out to the Lord, Kṛṣṇa, Kṛṣṇa. Just like Draupadi, when she was in great difficulty. Of course, even other times she was remembering Kṛṣṇa. But then when she was in great difficulty, as the Kauravas and the Pandavas, so they were engaged in basically enmity was there, and Duryodhana wanted to get rid of the Pandavas because he wanted to be the king. So he supposed a gambling of dice first, and Yudhishthira, he agreed. And so, but then Duryodhana, because he was not so expert, even Yudhishthira was not so expert in playing dice, then he asked Shakuni, his uncle, to play for him, who was expert and he was a great cheater also. So then Yudhishthira, he lost. He lost everything. The kingdom, all his wealth, even himself and his brothers, and then also ultimately Draupadi. And then Duryodhana asked his brother, one of his brothers, to bring her in the assembly, and then asked Dushasana, so to take the cloth, which is of course disgraceful in an assembly for a lady to be without the sari, without cloth. And so she tried to protect herself, but of course usually physically the ladies are a little less strong than the men. So she was not successful, so then she called out to Kṛṣṇa, Kṛṣṇa, Kṛṣṇa. And Hey Govinda, Hey Damodar, Hey Madhav, and then Kṛṣṇa. So he supplied unlimited cloth. In this way protected her. So, especially in danger, then one will immediately call out to Kṛṣṇa. So sometimes we say that we should always be there in the mood of serving Kṛṣṇa and not expect anything from Kṛṣṇa. So sometimes somebody may be saying, so why did she call out to Kṛṣṇa? So that is not pure devotional service. But the acharyas, especially Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, who is commenting also here in the purport, and who is a great commentator, of course always following in the footsteps of the original commentator of the Bhagavatam, Sridhar Swami. He has expressed and he has mentioned in regards to Draupadi calling out in distress. So pure devotee is always depending on Kṛṣṇa and is not expecting or asking anything from Kṛṣṇa. But if the great danger is there, if the difficulty is there, to whom shall we call out? Then naturally we are calling out to our Ishtadev, Pranana, the Lord of our heart, even the gopis in Braj. So when the demons were attacking, trying to kill Kṛṣṇa, of course even they were disturbed. So then they were calling out to Kṛṣṇa, the gopis, the gopas. And then Kṛṣṇa also is appearing and is helping them, protecting them. So that is natural. When we call out to the dear ones, and the most dear for the devotees is Kṛṣṇa. And so he has explained in the famous verse of Rupa Goswami, Anyabhilashita sunyam jnana karma navritam anukulina Kṛṣṇa nushilanam bhaktiruttamam. What is uttam bhakti? Pure bhakti. Kṛṣṇa nushilanam, we should do according to Kṛṣṇa. According to Krishna's desire, Anushilanam. But Kṛṣṇa wants that we should do. Anukul, it should be favorable. And then Anya Abhilashita Sunya. Anya Abhilash, no other desires should be there except to satisfy Kṛṣṇa. No desire to gain anything. Anya Abhilashita Sunyam Jnanam Karma Anavritam, not covered by fruitive mentality that I'm doing something and I should get something in return. Or even empirics, the jnanis, those who are studying the scriptures, but sometimes just in order to merge in the absolute truth or in order to be recognized as great scholars. So that is a fruitive mentality, that is selfish, so that has to be given up. Only for Krishna's pleasure we should do everything, without expecting anything in return. So he has specified Anya Bilash. No other desire should be there. And then, of course, according to Sanskrit grammar, ta had to be included in order to make the verse be complete. So, anyabhilashita sunyam. So, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has explained, ta, that refers to if the devotee is in a very difficult situation like Draupadi. So she doesn't have any other desire except to serve Kṛṣṇa and please Kṛṣṇa. But so this here, this is the exception. And that is indicated by the inserted ta. Anyabhilashita sunyam. She doesn't have any other desire except to serve Kṛṣṇa, but then in great distress. So she called out to Kṛṣṇa. Actually before she was looking at the Pandavas, but the Pandavas, they're just hanging their heads down. Although Bhima and Arjuna, they were actually standing up and they were ready to take out their swords and fight. But then Yudhishthira calmed them down and said, no, it is not proper to do. And they were boiling in anger. They could do nothing. So in this difficult situation, one may call out to the Lord. And so there is no harm. So that is actually natural. So Kṛṣṇa is actually most merciful, and Kṛṣṇa is always taking care and protecting his devotees. But sometimes, so Kṛṣṇa has a plan and we may not understand Kṛṣṇa's plan. But we have to be patient then, like the Pandavas. So they were in exile for 13 years. And they were tolerating, although Kṛṣṇa was there, and they didn't complain to Kṛṣṇa. Kṛṣṇa, please do something, we are your devotees. No. They knew Kṛṣṇa is his plan, and they were tolerant. And that is actually, these pastimes are there also for us to learn. The difficulties may be there, but we should tolerate and we should have faith that ultimately Kṛṣṇa is there with us, and Kṛṣṇa has a plan, and Kṛṣṇa is always there to help us and protect us. So, here in this verse, so Kṛṣṇa is saying to the gopis, "My dear girlfriends, do you still remember me?" And so we should understand that Kṛṣṇa, so is most expert in everything, in the loving exchange also with his devotees. And although sometimes when he's speaking, Kṛṣṇa is speaking in a joking way, or also it is known as pakṣa-kṣapaṇa. Sometimes he's saying something, but he's actually thinking something else. Indirect meaning is there, in a joking way. So to really understand Kṛṣṇa, so we have to be fully dedicated to him, and especially we have to be under the guidance of the pure devotees. So therefore Srila Prabhupada, and here also the disciples of Prabhupada, they are quoting from the previous acharyas, like Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and other purports, Sanatana Goswami or Jiva Goswami or Sridhar Swami, so we may have the proper understanding in regards to the wonderful pastimes of Kṛṣṇa. During this eclipse, so when all the Brijvasis were there and so many personalities, first of all, Kṛṣṇa, following etiquette, so he spoke to his parents, Nanda Baba and Modi Yashoda and the other elderly Brijvasis, and he consoled them, and there was a loving exchange there. And then his friends were there also, he spoke to them also. And then the elderly members of Vrindavan, they also, of course, then exchanged their greetings, or they talked to each other, so the elderly members, and then Kṛṣṇa had the opportunity to meet the gopis, who are his most beloved, and the most wonderful loving exchange is there. The highest form of love is the love of the gopis in Braj. And ultimately, so in the Srimad Bhagavatam, that is proclaimed throughout the 10th canto, and so all the great personalities in the Bhagavatam, they have glorified the wonderful loving sentiments of the Brijvasis, and then especially the gopis. Even Bhishmadev, that is explained in the Bhagavatam also, before he left his body, so he wanted to leave his body actually, and he had the power to leave this world, to leave his body when he wanted. And so he wanted to leave his body when the sun is in the northern course, Uttarayan, because according to Shastra that is more auspicious. And he wanted to leave his body seeing his Ishtadev, Kṛṣṇa, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Kṛṣṇa granted his wish, and he appeared there, and by his arrangement, so the Pandavas were there also. And so then Yudhishthira had some questions, because he was going to be the emperor, and Bhishmadev, he gave some good instructions to him, how to rule the kingdom, how to follow Varnashram. And also by giving these instructions, explaining about devotional service to Kṛṣṇa, the Supreme Lord himself. And in the course of describing about devotional service and the love of the different devotees, then he also glorified the gopis as the most exalted of all the associates of Kṛṣṇa in Braj, and as the greatest devotees of the Lord. So when he spoke to the gopis, of course, they were so much in transcendental ecstasy. At the same time, So, some transcendental, because in the loving exchange between the Lord and His devotees, there's not only one mood which is there, many times different sentiments are there. But one is called sthayi bhav, that is the permanent ecstasy. Just like Mother Yashoda and Nanda Baba, they have the parental affection towards Kṛṣṇa, that is known as sthayi bhav. And the friends of Kṛṣṇa, Sudam, Sri, the Mother Mangal, so the sthayi bhav, the permanent ecstasy relationship is that Kṛṣṇa is my friend. So the gopi sthayi bhav, that is madhurya bhav, the conjugal relationship, Kṛṣṇa is my beloved. So that is most prominent and that is practically permanent. But then the different emotions are there which are coming and going. Just like it is mentioned in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu by Narupa Goswami, there are 33 which are known as Vyabhichari Bhav. So they are coming and going. Transcendental pleasure is there in the loving exchange, and transcendental sadness, transcendental illusion, transcendental distress is there, and also transcendental anger, which sometimes the gopis, or even Mother Yashoda, she's angry at Kṛṣṇa in the pastimes in Braj, when he's stealing butter from other houses. So, and then actually when the different sentiments are there, that is giving pleasure to Kṛṣṇa, when the different moods are there. And usually there are more than just one. That is explained in the Chaitanya Charitamrita also. And in regards to especially the loving exchange between Kṛṣṇa and the gopis, just like one of them is known as Kila Kinchit Bhav. So the loving exchange. So this transcendental love is there, but then this transcendental fear may be there also, transcendental anger may be there. So mixed feelings are there in the loving exchange. Here also with the gopis, actually they have pure love for Kṛṣṇa. They are the most exalted of Kṛṣṇa's associates. So that is there. At the same time, because they were separated, and because after so long time they meet, and because also here Kṛṣṇa, as in the previous verse, text number 40, so Kṛṣṇa is also joking with them and laughing at them. And so therefore, that is also causing the gopis to act in a similar way. And that is expressed in the verses and in the purport also. But first of all, so that is explained, that Kṛṣṇa, he embraced each of the gopis, because after such a long time, and they were always, because they are pure devotees, they are always thinking about Kṛṣṇa, their eternal associates, and the loving sentiments are there. And in this way they feel the presence of Kṛṣṇa. At the same time, so separation is there, vipralamba bhav. Actually nobody is separated from Kṛṣṇa. We as eternal servants of Kṛṣṇa, we are never separated from Kṛṣṇa. It is not possible. But due to illusion, the conditioned soul, first of all, when they come in the material world, they are not aware of their relationship with Kṛṣṇa. Completely in illusion under the modes of material nature. But if by good fortune they come to know that the Supreme Lord exists, Kṛṣṇa exists, and if by good fortune they understand that they are not this body, spirit, soul, and if by good fortune they understand that we have a relationship with the Supreme Lord, so then they can slowly but surely advance in the spiritual life. And but the feeling is there in the beginning that we were separated, but actually nobody is separated from Kṛṣṇa. Everyone is an eternal servant of Kṛṣṇa, Jivara Supoya Kṛṣṇa Nityadas. But due to the modes of material nature, one is forgetful of Kṛṣṇa, and then one may then feel separation in this way, that one is not connected. But in purified consciousness one will understand But then still, by the Lord's arrangement, so one may feel the connection with Kṛṣṇa. At the same time, the feelings of separation will be there also. Even the most exalted, the devotees in Braj, so they have Kṛṣṇa's association, but then they feel separation from Kṛṣṇa. Of course, Kṛṣṇa, so first he was in Braj, then going to Mathura, and then to Dwarka. And so then they were feeling separation for such a very long time. But then they meet, and then of course naturally they feel so much pleasure in meeting Kṛṣṇa. And so Kṛṣṇa, so he was there physically and then embracing them, and it is mentioned so by his Vibhuti Shakti, because after all, and that we have to understand the point at the beginning, that Kṛṣṇa is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So by his power he expanded himself and he embraced each gopi. So Kṛṣṇa is our Aishwaponi Bhagavan, is the all-powerful Supreme Personality of Godhead. As mentioned in Śrīmad Bhagavatam in the first canto, 3rd chapter, Ete Chamsa Kalapumsam Krishnastu Bhagavan Sayam. That is actually the original Supreme Personality of Godhead. And all the other personalities of Godhead, they are simply expansions of Kṛṣṇa. So Kṛṣṇa is all powerful, and so he expanded himself and reciprocated with each of the gopis, and so understanding also that they were in so much distress, and so therefore embraced them, and he was joking with them also. So he was laughing and he was speaking as follows. So that is text number 41. So sarcastically, so to say, he was speaking here in a joking way. My dear girlfriends, do you still remember me? And he's the all-knowing Supreme Lord. And he knows he's situated in everyone's heart. So he knew the distress of the gopis, and he knew that they were practically almost dying because of separation from Kṛṣṇa. So they were calling out to Kṛṣṇa, they were remembering Kṛṣṇa, calling out Kṛṣṇa, Kṛṣṇa, and crying and crying. And therefore when he was speaking to them, do you still remember me? Then therefore they're replying according to that. So because it was a kind of joke. What are you talking about? We are remembering you. And even of course, slight understanding is there of his position as the Lord, and he himself is explaining in this way. So, indirectly. But of course in Braj, the goal is aware that Kṛṣṇa is the Supreme Lord. But slightly then, like even Mother Yashoda, when she saw in Kṛṣṇa's mouth all the universes, then she was very much surprised. And sometimes for a split second they may think he's just like the Lord. But then again by Yoga Maya they're forgetting, no, he's just our son, he's our beloved. So Kṛṣṇa is joking with the gopis. And I'm telling them, for my relative's sake, I stayed away so long. And then also intent on destroying my enemies. So because the Lord is coming to destroy the demons and to protect his devotees. Yada yada he dharmasya glani bhavati bharata abhyuttama dharmasya tatvatmam sijamiham paritranaya saranam vinasha chaduskritam dhamma samstapanataya sambhavami yuge yuge. Kṛṣṇa is saying to Arjuna, I come to protect my devotees and to destroy the demons and to establish a religion. So that had to be done. And actually Kṛṣṇa, when he left, he was telling also his friends and his parents and the gopis, I'm coming back very soon. So but he came back after only many years. So he was around 15 years old when he went to Mathura, and when he was about 25 he went to Dwarka. And then then Kurukshetra was there, the he spoke the Bhagavad Gita and he was almost 90 years old. But still like a young man, he was looking like 25 years old because he's the Supreme Lord, he doesn't get old. Not like in the West, they think, like in the Bible, God is the oldest person. And then they're speculating, and sometimes you see paintings, they have in the clouds, above the clouds, they have an old person there, God, with a white beard and white hair, because he's the oldest person. But no. Yes, he is the oldest person, but he's Nava-yovanam, he's ever fresh. In Braj, he's 16 years old. And beautiful, blackish complexion, but extremely beautiful. And the source of everything, of all beauty. And in Dwarka is like 25, 30 years old, always beautiful. And then so it was around this age when he was still beautiful, so then in this loving exchange here, so Kṛṣṇa is joking with them. And then he's saying, perhaps you're thinking that I'm akṛta-jñāviśaṅkayā. Kṛta means to be grateful. Akṛta-jñāviśaṅkayā means ungrateful. So even in previously that has been explained also, actually in regards also again with the gopis. And in Braj Lila, after the Ras Lila, so actually Kṛṣṇa, so he danced with the gopis and then he left the gopis and they met again, and there was a joking also again. Many times Kṛṣṇa is joking with the gopis and they also joking, and he was thinking, saying also three kinds of persons are there, and referring to ordinary people also, and to sadhakas, for example. Akṛta-jñāviśaṅkayā, the same word was used there. And Guru Drohi, so against the spiritual master. So he was joking with the gopis at that time also. And now again here he's speaking in this way and saying that maybe you're thinking of akṛta-jñāviśaṅkayā, I'm ungrateful. And therefore you have some contempt. So some dissatisfaction is there, and then many thoughts may be there by the gopis. So one thought has been given by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in a purport. But then so Kṛṣṇa is saying that after all it is the Supreme Lord who brings living beings together and then separates them. In this way saying, well, what can I do? It is by the will of Providence, although he is the Supreme Lord himself. The Providence that is by Krishna's arrangements ultimately. So he's speaking in this way. And so Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is giving very nice purports which have been presented here. And because later on he's explaining also that Kṛṣṇa is indicating that somebody may think, or you may think also, that I must be God. But then still I may be conquered by your loving affection, and that is actually fact. Although Kṛṣṇa is the Supreme Lord and he cannot be conquered. He's known as Ajit. Nobody can conquer the Supreme Lord. He's all powerful. But he's becoming actually bound by the love of his devotees, just like Mother Yashoda, she's binding Kṛṣṇa Damodar. And the childhood pastime is their famous pastime. And also Radha Damodar, the gopis also are binding Kṛṣṇa with their love, with the ropes of love. So wonderful loving exchanges there. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is reading his thoughts. Actually, the many thoughts were there when they were meeting. As we know that ourselves also we can, so we are introspective and we know in the dealings with others also, we may have so many thoughts, and maybe positive or negative. Of course, if Kṛṣṇa is already in the center, then it is material. So we have to put Kṛṣṇa in the center always. And then the proper emotions may be there. But even there it may not be always positive. But Kṛṣṇa has to be in the center. Just like here, the gopis, they also become angry at Kṛṣṇa. And so it may seem to be negative. How they can be angry at the Supreme Lord? But that is there in the loving exchange. And Kṛṣṇa is relishing that also. Even more than the great sages who are glorifying Kṛṣṇa with select verses. And in a positive way, oh, you're the Supreme Lord, you're all powerful. Kṛṣṇa is appreciating, but when the gopis are chastising Kṛṣṇa, or you're rascal, or Maria Shoros, or you're debauchee, and in anger also, Kṛṣṇa is because he said something which he didn't like. Oh, Radharani, your face. No, he didn't, one time he didn't address her as Radharani, but and said to her, oh, your face is very, very beautiful, just like the full moon. Oh, Chandravali, you're so beautiful. So calling Radharani Chandravali, and she became angry. And what are you saying? I'm Radha, I'm not Chandravali, which is a rival gopi. And she becomes angry, and then Kṛṣṇa has to do something. Because the anger is staying. It doesn't go easily away. And he has to speak very nicely to her. But sometimes, and so actually, if the offense of Kṛṣṇa, the so-called offense of Kṛṣṇa, if it is slight, then so then he can easily, then the man of Radharani is light also. And he can easily break. But if Kṛṣṇa did a big mistake, if instead of going to meet Radharani at night time, at the rendezvous, Abhisar, and he goes to see Chandravali, and he stays there for 2-3 hours, and then he's coming to Radharani's kunj, and it is almost time to go back home. It's getting light in the morning. The sunrise is about to come. Then she's very angry. And he cannot easily break that man. He has to almost break his head what to do now. He has to disguise himself. So these emotions are there. And then, so Kṛṣṇa has to, in many ways, he has to try to break that transcendental anger. So the emotions are there, and in Braj, they're the highest emotion, especially in the loving exchange of Radha and Kṛṣṇa. And the gopis, that is the highest loving exchange is there. And the different emotions are there. So even so in Kurukshetra also this loving exchange is there. Kṛṣṇa is there. Kṛṣṇa is adbhut. Kṛṣṇa is wonderful, and his pastimes adbhut lila. And by hearing again and again, especially from the devotees who are more advanced, then we can have some understanding, because it is extremely deep. But the acharyas have explained, Prabhupada has explained also. about the wonderful pastimes of Kṛṣṇa in Braj, Kṛṣṇa in Mathura, and Kṛṣṇa in Dwarka. And so of course here they meet, that is Vasudeva Kṛṣṇa actually. Vasudeva Kṛṣṇa is, as we know, Kṛṣṇa is, in Braj is the original form. And then there's Mathuresh, and there's Dwarkadish, and the spiritual world also. Permanently there, but then when the pastimes are happening in this world, Kṛṣṇa is in Braj, and then Kṛṣṇa goes to Mathura, but that is actually Vasudeva Kṛṣṇa becomes manifest. Kṛṣṇa is not taking one step out of Braj. That is explained. So Prabhupada has also explained. So these hidden things are there in the scriptures, and so we should first of all understand that Kṛṣṇa is the Supreme Lord, and then we should patiently hear, especially from those who are Siddhanta-vid, who know the Siddhanta of the Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy, which Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given through his very dear associates, especially Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, Jiva Goswami, and then like Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. So they give the confidential meanings which are there, and Prabhupada has indicated also in the Kṛṣṇa book or in many of his purports to some extent. So Prabhupada has given the essence from the previous Acharya's writings that we should see. So here the gopis actually, it is mentioned here, that is one mood which they have, one thought. So we are not like you, who with your heart shattered by remembering us day and night gave up all sense enjoyment in your distress and separation. So they're saying that Kṛṣṇa, so he was feeling separation from the gopis when he was in Mathura, which is true also to some extent. And in Dwarka also, many times he was thinking about the gopis in separation, and even dreaming also at night about the Brijbasis, the cows, Maria Yashoda, the friends, and the gopis calling out, Sudam, Sridam, Yashoda, and then calling out, hey Radhe, hey Lalite. And the queens, they become really surprised. How come he's calling out more the names of the Brijbasis than he's not calling out Rukmini or Satyabhama? And therefore they asked Rohini to tell about the pastimes of Kṛṣṇa and Braj. And then she told them, and that is actually then after the form of Jagannath, Baladeva and Subhadra manifested as a result of that. So, so very amazing and wonderful pastimes. So here they are, Kṛṣṇa is joking, and so they also in joking, the thinking in this kind of sarcastic way, the thoughts are there. That so yes, your heart is shattered, because here he is speaking very much composed, and everything is fine, you're fine and I'm fine. But at the same time Kṛṣṇa, although he's a Supreme Lord, but transcendental emotions are there, and he's feeling separation from the Brijbasis that has been explained in the books of the Acharyas, like Sanatana Goswami, Brihad Bhagavatamrita, when Prabhupada said, anyone who wants to know about Bhagavan, Bhakt and Bhakti must read these books, this book. Of course, first we have to read the Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, and then we may read other books on the proper guidance. But then we can understand these very subtle things which are indicated here. And so they're saying, so your heart is shattered, and you gave up all sense enjoyment because of the distress of separation. That we know also. If somebody is distressed, if something happened to someone, like for example, the mother is there, the son is going to school and is not coming back from the school, and there's no information from the school, she becomes very much distressed. I'm sure the mothers, they can experience there. Any mothers here? Any mothers? Yes, so you must have experienced that also, no? Children going to school and coming not back quickly, then the mother becomes worried. and she's not feeling like eating, where is my child? So then it's difficult to function at this time. If the feeling of separation is there for the beloved, the more the love is there, then the more the feelings of separation will be there also. And then they are saying, rather we have not remembered you at all. Sarcastically they're saying. And they're saying, in fact, we are quite happy without you. But indirectly they want to say that Kṛṣṇa is acting in a way just like he is actually happy without the gopis also. So they're expressing their mood, because actually they're in this stress, and because they're remembering always Kṛṣṇa, and they're feeling distress because of that. But they don't want to show also. And they want to say, well, we are actually quite happy. And we have not remembered you at all. So just the opposite. So that is there, so in loving exchange, so which is very deep. So this transcendental loving exchange is there, and which is so very important if we can try to understand. So it is just not like, therefore we have to first of all understand Kṛṣṇa as the Supreme Lord, and then we have to try to understand his feelings, his mood, his thinking, and then we can understand his loving exchange with his associates, and especially the gopis. Therefore materialistic persons, they cannot understand Kṛṣṇa. How come this person is having affairs with other women because they were so-called married? And then with many, they cannot understand. First of all, because they cannot understand that is the Supreme Lord, because they have not been in proper guidance. They don't have a guide, spiritual master. They have not studied the scriptures, because in the scriptures it is mentioned, especially than the acharyas. That is Vibhuti Shakti. Kṛṣṇa expanded himself and embraced all the gopis, and expanded himself in Dwarka also, in the loving exchange with the queens. And during the rasa dance also expanded himself. But that they cannot see, they cannot understand, because they don't have the proper association. So especially in regards to understanding Kṛṣṇa's pastimes in Braj, and especially the pastimes of Kṛṣṇa with the gopis, we have to be in proper association with those who are Siddhantavit, who know, and Shastravit, Siddhantavit, and Rasa Tattvavit. So know the conclusion of the Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy, who are expert in understanding the transcendental mellow of the loving exchange of Kṛṣṇa and the Brijabasis, and especially the gopis also, which is most exalted and which is most difficult to understand. Therefore, even in Nectar of Devotion, some explanation has been given of the different rasas, Shantaras, the neutral, Dasyaras, the servitorship, Sakyaras, the friendship, Vatsalyaras, has been very nicely explained, so we can have some understanding. And then the Madhurya Ras has been explained also. But because this Madhurya Ras is most exalted and most difficult to understand, he has given a nice explanation, but that is not enough. So therefore he has written another book known as Ujjwal Nilamani, where he has more explicitly explained about the loving exchange of Radha and Kṛṣṇa. So of course Prabhupada didn't present that book, because he had to present first the Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita. But one time one reporter actually asked Prabhupada, actually was a scholar from Germany. There are many scholars in Germany who studied the scriptures of India. Even World War II is there. Hitler, he sent his men to find out things, because he knew that there's a lot of knowledge in India. So they did a lot of research, and they tried to acquire the knowledge. Even the sign, the Hitler sign which is there. Anyone know the Hitler sign? Hitlerkreuz, the Hitler sign. And he was powerful in the beginning, very powerful, because he had some knowledge from the Vedic literatures. But he did a mistake. The sign which is there, the Hitler sign, the cross, is actually ulta. It is opposite. It is the swastik sign which is auspicious, which is known in India. Any ceremony we have a swastik sign, which is there on Krishna's lotus feet, on Krishna's left foot. It is the swastik sign. But he put the cross on the opposite way. And therefore he got the opposite result. And he was destroyed at the end. First he was powerful because he had knowledge from the Vedic literatures, but he didn't use it properly. Not to serve Krishna. And he was harming so many people. So therefore he was defeated at the end. And his army also. And the Germans, they lost. Although in the beginning they were powerful. All powerful. And they wanted to conquer the world. But they were defeated. So it should be used properly. So this, so the gopis are, so this scholar, he asked Prabhupada, so you translated Ujjwal Nilamani? And Prabhupada said, huh? He was surprised that he knew Ujjwal Nilamani. And again he repeated, Ujjwal Nilamani, did you translate? And Prabhupada said, no, this is for the advanced devotees only. And actually the scholars, they have some knowledge of even our Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy. Even some of them, they may have more knowledge of us, of the ordinary devotees. They may know more, but they don't understand that we have to surrender to Krishna. So what is the use of that? So many of these scholars are there. I read this one book of one scholar. So he had vast knowledge, so he knew all the scriptures, but he was not surrendered to Krishna because he didn't have a guru. And he was not properly using, he just had a scholarship. But what is the use? We have to surrender to Krishna. We have to take shelter of Krishna. We have to serve Krishna. We have to glorify Krishna. We have to remember Krishna. Like the gopis. So, or like Maria Yashoda, the friends of Krishna. So that we have to ultimately, try to do. The whole Bhagavatam, ultimately the 10th canto, is trying to show us that we should take shelter of the Brijabasis who are most exalted, and of them the gopis. And most of our acharyas actually gopis in our line. The 6 Goswamis are gopis, manjaris, they are younger gopis. All the acharyas, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is explaining, my name is Kamala Manjari. So they are most exalted. So of course, first of all, we always have to follow the rules and regulations and understand that Krishna is God and that we are not his body. And we have to serve in that humble way. And later on, we can follow the moods of the gopis, try to understand the mood of the Brijabasis in general. And then we may be able to attain perfection. And then we may go where Krishna performs his pastimes, like in the announcement today. Prabhupada's quote is there, it is explained. If at the time of that, even if you are not perfect in remembering, but Krishna will help us, then we can go where Krishna performs his pastimes, that is in one of the universes. So when we are perfect, when we realize ourselves, that Prabhupada is explaining Bhagavad Gita, in the introduction, is explained there the 5 rasas, and is explaining Sarup Siddhi or Sarup Gat and Vastu Siddhi, and is explained in one place also. If we realize ourselves, not just I am not this body, I am spirit soul, but if you realize your relationship with Krishna in one of the rasas, then you can go where Krishna performs his pastimes in one of the universes, and then you can enter Krishna's lila, and then Vastu Siddhi is there. Then that is the perfection. So, yeah, a long way to go, but we try our best to make as much advancement as possible. By chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Grantara Chimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Hare Krishna.